Welcome to the show. Slightly later than scheduled. It's Club Corbie for the 5th of June 2020. Yep, we're at the end of the week already. Slightly later show than usual today, and it's going to be a slightly shorter show than usual as well, because it's kind of frantic around here, to be honest with you. So I'm going to try and still do at least an hour on stream today. On today's show, we're going to pick up where we left off with yesterday's stream. We were working on what's going to be the 14th of these daily comic strips, so the 4th in the actual new storyline. Is that right? 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, that's right. So we'll quickly pick up in terms of finishing off this last panel here, and then if we have time, once we've got that one finished and lettered, we will go on and get started working on page 15, which you can see here. So let me see if I can find the actual layer that I was working on yesterday. That might help. Oh yeah, in fact what we need to do is I'll bring the opacity of this layer down a bit just so I can see what I'm doing, and we will start to figure out where we're going to put the wings. Just very crudely to begin with. In actual fact, I don't like that. I think we should need to start to just in the broadest terms figure out roughly where we want the wings to go. And I'm forgetting the tail feathers as well. And gradually we're gonna add in more detail. Make the wings a little more accurate. We're gonna have the wings kind of the sort of the feathers, if you will. We're gonna have them kind of be very contracted and pushed together. And again, it's one of these things where I'm not trying to get too fancy here. We're not doing things the way that we would if we were doing like a full-blown, highfalutin, artistic depiction of Corbie for like a cover of a book or something. So we need to be very efficient about how we do this. It's a very small image for, you know, one panel of one of the daily comic strips, so you know, every single pen stroke doesn't need to be perfect. I will just pen some small strokes at the top of the wings as well, just to add a little bit of detail in there. And the worst thing about doing the wings like this is it's gonna cover up a lot of the character art, but that can't be helped. Another thing that we used to do was have a lot of you know, the transparency effects that we would do that would preserve a lot of the details so you could see what was going on behind the wings, but once we start to do the daily strips I kind of put my foot down about that. I had to, it wouldn't really work well with the black and white format. Everything needs to be as minimal as possible, so we're not going to be doing any of that. Because of that, it means we have to go back, and anything that's sitting under the wings now we have to erase it. Which kind of sucks because it's like, well, there goes all that hard work at the window. It's all gone. It's a bit like when you're writing, and a lot of the writing process is you've got to be ruthless and be willing to get rid of material that you've written, even if you feel that it's good. If it isn't the need of the story, it has to go. And again, anything that not careful. Anything that falls under the wings here, we're just gonna remove it. And we're going to have to re-edit this little sweeping part of the wings as well, because that's going to create a tangent where it seems to run into the legs, so we've got to remove that as well, or redraw that. It actually looks better with the wings, because for whatever reason the wings seem to help it look more like Corbie has fallen and is defeated, rather than when she didn't have the wings, it kind of looked a bit like she was casually reclining, which was bugging me a bit, so that actually helps. Okay, we're gonna go in and we're gonna add some more black areas to the image. And really help to bring it to life, and then we'll be done, with the exception of we still have to do the lettering, and that'll be it. I am enjoying working on these daily comic strips and figuring everything, how to make everything work within the confines of this much more limited format. But I think the constructions are good for me, They're good for me insofar as I keep everything very minimal. Then I can resist the temptation to, or I'm learning to resist the temptation to make every single thing that I do, and all singing, all dancing, overly complicated affair. But I still just cannot see, I cannot see us getting to the point where I can produce 5 of these a week, which is the problem. And until I can get to that point, I'm concerned that that this project is not going to work. That's my anxiety, and has been really since I started these daily strips. I don't want to start posting these and then, because I just can't produce them quickly enough, I run out of content. So what I wanted to do was have 5 of them a week, and now I'm thinking, is it going to be 3 of them a week? Is it going to be 2 a week? I mean, let me know in chat or in the comments if you'd be happy with that. If you could see enjoying 2 daily, it wouldn't be daily strips, it would be 2 comic strips a week, maybe Tuesday and Thursday rather than Monday, Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it would just be 2 at a time. I mean, what I'm thinking is, if we were going to do 2 at a time, we could basically launch now, and I would have several weeks worth of content that I could put out. But if we're going to do 5 a week, we're going to run through all the content that I've made pretty fast. That's the issue. Oh, we've got a bit of overlap there. Some shadow on the ground that is on the back of Corbie's arm that shouldn't be there. Go ahead and get rid of that. A lot of this is about just making decisions about where the shadow is going to land and how you're going to place it in such a way that it helps to define the image and that you can keep everything clear. I'm going to make another layer and place the shadows for the wings on that layer because I don't know if this is going to work or not, or if this is going to be too much. That might be a good idea to just be able to manage it. Again, too much black can end up overpowering the image. It's a very useful tool in terms of creating panels that are very impactful, very effective, but if we overdo it, we can spoil a good thing. Yeah, okay, that kind of works. I was worried that by casting everything in too much shadow it's gonna spoil the image, but it actually helps to make it a bit more dramatic and really have Neemhain and Maka looming over Corbie and having her cast in shadow. Seems to work out okay. So we'll go in and we'll start to add in a little bit more detail here. A little bit more shadow, a lot more shading. You can see how that's much more dramatic and much more effective than what we started with in terms of just starting out with simple line art by casting Corbie. I mean, Corbie's armor is mostly black anyway, but by just mostly just the only, you know, we've got to the point where the lighting is mostly just rim lighting, and some areas that we've left white just to accentuate the details. And that has made a huge difference. Okay. We're gonna add some more shading to Nevain and Maca, and then we're gonna wrap this up. I don't know if we're gonna have time to get onto the next page after this today, which is what I really wanted to do. And in fact, if we don't do it on today's stream, then by the time I talk to you next on Monday, I would hazard a guess I'll have moved on and we'll have that page done already, and we'll end up moving on to work on another page instead. But that's just the nature of things. It's the wheels never stop turning, even on weekends. And like I said, I need to knock out as many of these pages as I can every single week, and try to build up a backlog of them, as many as I can, and also try and get faster and get more efficient at doing this. I definitely feel like I'm having to take shortcuts that I wouldn't normally do in order to, you know, get these things done as quickly as possible. But it's probably a good thing, actually. I need to learn how to not be precious about these pages. The important thing is that the story gets done and it gets put out there and it gets told. Which is a difficult thing for any artist to do, because you know, you feel like you want to do your best work, and you also feel like, well, my art is very important to me. on my craft, but I need to be able to strike a balance between these things. Anyway, it's not like we have a choice. As I've spoken about on previous streams, you know, being an artist in 2020 basically means you're at the mercy of the social media algorithms, and if you don't keep making content and putting out content, you're going to get punished for it, sadly. I don't know. I know I complain about that an awful lot. To be honest, I don't even know if it's worth complaining about at this point, because especially when it comes to Instagram, I always feel like it's a bit of a lost cause, for me anyway. I haven't been able to, even I've been posting a lot on Instagram recently, and nothing seems to help. I don't know, maybe if I posted fan art or something, but because if I was making fan art, that would require me to not be doing this. I'd have to find the time from someplace. If you'd like to see me doing fan art, I'm not above the idea. If you have any suggestions, that's one of those things, you can let me know. And never say never, it could happen. I think you know though that if I'm gonna do fan art, I'm probably gonna end up doing something I like, Transformers or something. Something that's in my wheelhouse. Saying that, I did some Transformers fan art last year, and it didn't do much better than my original stuff in terms of engagement, so okay, probably going to come to a point where I should just stop working on Maka, because Nime needs attention too. And these two sisters are very demanding. See, my original plan was I was going to have the light source be right in the center of the image here, and the shadow was going to be on the left for Maka, and then it would extend it to being on the right for Nimhu because the light source would be here, so the shadow would be on either side, but that's fine. We'll keep it consistent between the both of them. Let's just have the shadow adhere to the lines of Maka's Nimhu's dress here. And we'll cast this all in black. Okay. I gotta change up that music. That is doing nothing for me. No, I think that might be too much, and that's gonna... Oops. I think that might be too much, and that's gonna detract from the image, so I'm gonna pull the shadow in a little bit there on this side. think we've covered about all the ground we can possibly cover there. Okay. I'm quite happy with that actually. It's a very dramatic sort of panel. It's kind of covering ground that we've already covered because it's just a flashback to events that we've already seen, so I don't know. It's it might have been a lot of work, but a lot of work for something that isn't really all that consequential in the great scheme of things. But the idea is the early goings of this story arc are not very. This is kind of a spoiler because I'm talking about events that you haven't seen yet. The early events of this story arc are not going to be very Corinne/Corbie centric. I wanted to shift the focus back to what's happening in Annandale Academy while Corinne has been on this adventure, even though it was only for a couple of days. While Corinne was in Ireland, what was going on back in Beverly Hills in Annandale Academy, and the idea is we're not going to see an awful lot of Corinne for a little while, and then she'll come back into prominence later on in the story once we've set a lot of things up. But I still wanted to have this this panel here just to flash back to what's happening, just to remind everyone about where Corinne is at this point in the storyline, because we've kind of stepped back before we can step forward. This whole point in the story takes place a little bit further back in the narrative. So with that said, we still got one more thing to do. I think I'll put that one dead center. I need the lines to be a bit thicker than that, so. Yeah, okay. I think that's gonna do it. Okay, and that is page 14 completed as far as I can see. it might see some more tweaks before you see it online, whenever that may be. I still don't know when we're going to actually start posting these daily strips. Like I said, I really want to get a good buffer going before I start posting them and figure out just exactly what the kind of the schedule is going to be. In an ideal world, we'll put 5 of them out a week. Realistically, it's more likely it's going to be 2 or 3, I think. Unless I suddenly get a burst of speed and suddenly start just knocking these things out, but historically that hasn't been the case, so yeah. We still have page 15 to go as well, and that's a very crude version of it that you're seeing on screen there just now. I'll be working on that one over the weekend and just sort of refining everything. That last panel with Sadie in it is really just a very rough, that's like the storyboard sketch, and it's going to get swapped out, or redrawn really I should say. A lot of this image is going to get redrawn actually before it's done. Anyway, we should be back on Monday. Normal Club Corbie at the normal time, at the normal for the normal duration. And I just noticed something else that I missed shading actually on that last panel, so I'll do that as well. Normal Club Corbie normal time on Monday, I believe, and we will go over. We probably won't be doing page 15 by that point. We'll likely be on to page, I don't know, 16 or 17 or beyond by that point, I would hope. But we're gonna try and get back into a regular schedule of things next week, because I know this has been this week's been a bit sporadic with streams. Sometimes that's just out of necessity if it's if the content isn't there and I don't have anything to show you, or if we just have, you know, usual technical problems as well, and that can happen. But in any event, my commitment is, insofar as I possibly can, if I can do this show for 2 hours a day and get to have this chance to talk to all of you and you know, communicate back and forth with you and show you what's happening here in Corbie land, and that's what I'm going to do. It's very important to me, and I actually get kind of miffed if I don't get to do it. I would rather be able to do it than not, so it's a big part of my day at this point. Thank you all for continuing to support the stream and watching this week. Thank you for supporting Corbie in general, the Corbie Leavers. All of you are, like I said, very important to me. That's why I do the stream, is so I can talk to all of you and have this sort of interaction as well, and give you some insights into what goes into the comic making process, and also show you what's coming up. And there's always more Corbie content going on, coming down the pipeline in the future. Even if it doesn't seem like that, sometimes it seems like I've vanished off the face of the earth. At least for people who haven't been watching Club Corbie, they don't see any new content coming up. But you and I know, we can see that this is all in development. So, thank you all so much for being a part of this and being Corbie Leavers, and I'm going to keep doing this, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this content when it comes out as well. So anyway, for now, this has been Club Corbie, and I will see you on the next show.